Hey everyone, Jim here from Fuji Spray Sunless. I was recently at a Sunless Expo in the United States, and one of the number one questions for this model of spray gun, the TAN7350, is my pattern control is stuck, or it's seized, or it's broken. So if you do notice that you don't have easy, smooth movement of your pattern control assembly, and that's what adjusts from a narrow fan to a nice wide fan, what we're going to need to do is either service it by way of lubrication, or we're going to need to replace it entirely. So the nice thing about this is really all you're going to need is a flathead screwdriver. The rest of the tools actually come with the replacement bit. So the replacement is the 2338-black. It's going to come with a replacement Allen screw, and it's going to have a little Allen key wrench for you to remove that screw. So if you are noticing that it's stuck, sometimes that could be the case of tanning solution that's built up on the end of the deflector. It could be that over the years you've removed the factory lubricant by way of cleaning, or it could be that, here in Toronto we have hard water, so we get calcium deposits, and it kind of makes it sort of grind on the inside a little bit. So easy to fix, but sometimes depending on the severity of it, it could be a little bit more challenging. So I'll stop talking now and we'll get right to it. First thing we're going to do, we're going to pull out our pattern control. So as you see here, it's quite long. And this part right here is what deflects the air to make it a narrow or wide fan. So you'll see it goes all the way into the gun body. The nice thing about it too is there's this locating hole right on the 12 o'clock position. So you can only really install it one way. It's not like you could misinstall it or not install it correctly and then have any issues. So what we're going to do is we're just going to set this aside right now. Most of the pattern controls do come factory lubricated at the warehouse here in Toronto. But if not, you can always just do a little bit of Vaseline on the end of the deflector, and then when that engages on the inside walls of the applicator, it'll be nice and smooth. So you're going to take your Allen key, and I'm just going to set this off to the side. So I'm going to pop it into the screw there, just like that. Almost like any sort of like furniture you've ever built. We're just going to start loosening this. So nice and easy. Now, you're going to want to never do this near a sink because drains will eat these things up, garbage disposals. I already lost mine, as you probably heard it smash against the ground. So just be very careful. Set it on its side, and that Allen screw is going to come right out. What I like to do too is mechanics sometimes have these metal trays that are magnetized. It's great for cleaning your gun. You can get them cheap on Amazon. And that way, when you put something there, when you go back, it's going to be in the same position. Now, this is a brand new gun, so it should probably just slide out just like that. Now, if you do have a dirty gun, or it's been gummed up over the years, or if it's just had a good lifetime, this isn't going to be as easy. So what you're going to want to do, if necessary, is in between the plastic pattern control and the metal applicator body, you're just going to want to sort of wedge that flathead screwdriver in there and begin to pry out. You can pry out like this, or you can do the twist method, and that's just going to get some separation. Now, if you zoom in really closely, what you'll see is there's a black gasket there, and that's really all you need to get out of the applicator before it becomes much easier to remove. That's sort of the air seal to make sure that you don't get an air leak back there. So once again, put the flathead in there, just sort of wiggle, pry. Once again, this is a clean gun, so it's going to be a lot easier. This piece is going to come all the way out. Now, there are some circumstances too where if it's split off, you may need to get at it from the front side. So what we can do there, just grab this. We're going to remove your air cap and your collar. We're going to remove the pattern or the fluid control. Whenever you're removing the nozzle on your spray gun, you're always going to want to remove the needle first. That way you don't damage any of the needle components. Engage your trigger, and you're just going to see it shoot at the back there. Sometimes it's a little slippery, so I'm just going to use my shirt to get that off, and that's going to pull right out. So now we can go and grab the fluid nozzle. I'm just going to grab my wrench here, and there we go. Now, fluid nozzles are purposely put on tight at the facility here. So if you are ever having trouble, I like to put a towel down on my surface. I like to put my gun so that the brass square is facing me, and then what I'll do is just have my wrench. I'm going to put it on the fluid nozzle, and I'm just going to use my body weight. I find that is a little bit easier on the hand, and if you don't have the strength to remove that torque in the tightening there, makes it a lot easier. So just use your body weight. So now that we have it off, We're going to remove that fluid nozzle. I like to keep my applicator pointing upwards so that I don't lose any components. Take my fluid nozzle, pop that to the side. Air diffuser is going to come out. This is what diffuses the air inside the air cap evenly, so you get a nice even fan. And then what we're going to do here, we're going to use our screwdriver, and we're just going to carefully pry out the diffuser. Or sorry, that's the divider. My fault. Just going to rotate, rotate, rotate. Almost out. There we go. So that piece is going to come out, and we're just going to set that off to the side. Now, you might be able to see in here that as I have a white shirt, you can probably see all the way through. Now I'm going to put this pattern control back in, and you'll see that some of that whiteness disappears. So if you're ever having trouble pulling it out from the back, what you can do is remove all those components. And if you stick a flathead screwdriver, you're actually going to feel the end of the diffuser there. Or sorry, the pattern control. And what you can do is sort of poke it out the back. Pop that back in again. And just at the top, we're going to go whoop, pop it out. Now, it's not going to be that easy. Once again, this is a clean gun, but that'll allow you to get it out the front. So now, in terms of reinstallation, this is going to be nice and simple. We're going to take our new pattern control. We're going to ensure it's lubricated, whether it's the white lithium grease from the factory or just a whole bunch of Vaseline on there. We're going to install it so that the locating hole matches up with the locating hole in the gun body. Once that's in, now we're going to take our Allen screw and very carefully set that in. And I like to get maybe 1 or 2 rotations before I move to the screw. Kind of have a joke here in the office where if you ever lose a screw this small and you find it, it's always good to buy a lottery ticket. It's your lucky day. We're going to just tighten that in. We're going to tighten it just so that the Allen screw is flush with the gun body, and that's enough. And you'll see right away, nice buttery smooth engagement there. Now, if you did have to go through the front of the gun, we are going to just quickly reinstall these front components. You'll see there's a locating hole at the inside of the TAN7350 there. There's a locating pin on the diffuser. I'm just going to set that in, make sure it matches up nicely. There it does. Next, we got our diffuser. Pop that in there. Next thing we're going to do, fluid nozzle. Remember, needle is always the last thing to go in because we don't want to damage it. Then we're going to take the big cutout right there, put that on our fluid nozzle, just tighten it a little bit. You know, if you ever do have a leak, 9 times out of 10, all you have to do is tighten that nozzle down just a little bit more. On the topic of Vaseline, what I like to do too, for easy removal and easy reinstallation, is I'll take a little bit of that Vaseline on the tips of my fingers, go around the threads of the fluid nozzle. And what you'll find is not only does it make it easier to install and take apart, but that Vaseline almost acts as like a displacement. So if you do have solution creeping up your threads, that Vaseline is almost going to act as a wall. So next, we're going to take our air cap right here, set it to the vertical position so we get that horizontal spray. We're going to lock that collar in just like that. Set our air cap up perfectly. Flip the applicator around. Needle very carefully through here. Pop that in. Next thing we're going to do, needle spring. And then the fluid control. So we're just going to, and once you've done that, you've essentially serviced, lubricated, and or replaced your pattern control assembly. Like I said, it's not always that easy. Fear not, if you do have any issues, contact Fuji Spray, 1-800-650-0930, extension 2. Contact us at support@fujispray.com, and we'll even set up a video call where we can do this installation together, whether it's a new gun that just needs some new lubricant, whether it's an old gun that really needs some help in getting that thing out, we'll definitely get you sorted. This was Jim from Fuji Spray. Thank you so much.